welcome to Market Boys with Edmundo, Sapco, and Andres.
Hello,
How's it
folks.
going?
All right, guys. So, what we got for today?
Well, we got layoffs. We have the shutdown, government shutdown, and
You say shut down or
FEMA.
you say shut, right?
Shutdown.
Ah,
Shutdown.
Government
So,
shutdown.
we have a lot of going on.
Yeah. Loads of it.
All right.
For some reason, the government just loves shutting us down. What is going on here?
Well, we have to remember that the
Government.
government have three parts. It has three parts.
All right. So,
Who's
wait a minute.
shutting down the government?
You may,
That's a good question.
yeah. Who is
very good
voting
question.
against? Who's voting pro closing the government? Let's start that.
Ooh. Who's opposing Trump? More of the question, isn't it?
Well, almost every president faced down
Every
in the
last
last. I remember with George Bush, Barack Obama, the first Trump, Biden. So everybody was on board with
This
this.
is the second time in less than 6 months.
Right. Oh yeah.
This is a record, I guess. I don't
Oh
know.
my God! During the pandemic, there was so many shutdowns, and then they always said that the politicians was on vacation, didn't they? Oh, they're on vacation. I'm like, what?
And they're getting paid.
How many vacations can these guys take?
Well, it's time, friends, to take care of who you vote for, right?
Absolutely.
Well, those are the people we send to Washington.
Yeah.
Right.
So you were talking about the three different ramifications of the establishments, right? When it comes to government.
The
You wanna
division of
elaborate
the
on that?
famous division of powers established by our wise Constitution.
Yep.
You know that the Constitution is the oldest living Constitution.
It works.
Yeah.
Right. It works.
It works.
And it has been working, and it still is working. But they find loopholes within the Constitution, right? To use it in.
Well, that's why you have judges that are originalists. They believe in the Constitution as it was written. And you have the other judges that they think they can make a wide interpretation and adapt it.
As we know, time moves on, things change, we evolve, so we must create something that's more forward with what's happening
Well,
today.
there is a great book about that, Men in Black, by Mark Levin. It talks about the tyranny of the toga. In other words, that sometimes judges make laws.
Right. Speaking of tyranny,
Something to think about.
the notorious layoffs. What are we going to do about that? Let me jump in with a little bit of a news report or article here with the lawmakers there. The lawmakers gave federal employees a 3-month reprieve from government-wide layoffs as part of back and forth budget negotiation following the largest shutdown last fall. But those protections are set to expire at the end of the day on Friday when Congress ended the largest governmental shutdown last fall. Passed
Friday, you mean last Friday?
last Friday.
All right.
Passed a continuing resolution with a provision barring layoffs through January 30th.
Well, the solution for this is not asking the Congress for extra money. I mean, if you only expend the money that enters in taxes, you shouldn't have to have a continuous resolution. The big problem, I think, is not the detail, not the whole two-step dance in Washington, D.C. about I shut down the government, it's all the same story, but it's fiscal restraint, fiscal equilibrium.
You mean spending less?
No, we don't have that since Bill Clinton. You cannot expend what you don't have
Spend
unless
less,
you
right?
print
Very sound
dollars, take debt, right?
Indeed.
Or raise taxes. There are only three ways the government can finance itself. So I think the root of the problem is that. Since Bill Clinton, we don't have federal superavit. That's something to think about it.
Andres? No
Just
comment.
say. I let him be with his thoughts. It's good.
All right. So, with that being said, language in the stopgap spending bills prevented several agencies from proceeding with reduction in force targeting about 4,000 federal employees during the shutdown. RIF noticed when went out to employees at the Department of Commerce, Education, Energy, Health, Human Resources, Housing and Urban Development, Homeland Security, and Treasury. They are going to resume the measures of shutdown here pretty soon. Mass layoffs, that mean.
Well, all non-essential personnel is may be let go.
Right.
Yeah.
So Homeland Security aren't paying their employees, and it is not looking good.
The
Why it's not good?
non-essential. Yeah.
Why is it not good? Not paying their employees? Well, they're going to maybe strike.
No, you say that pretty much people with the national security employees, right? Like INS or that type. Is that what you're referring to?
I believe so.
The non-essential, basically, those administrative employees, the non-essential, which is
Well-
security forces are going to get.
Is the airport essential?
Well,
Is traveling? I think big corporations will say,
well,
yeah.
that was some news about today about the airport. What will happen with the airports, with the TSA, the TSOs, the officers, and what happened with the air controllers? That's very, very
But
important.
they're essential jobs. They're not non-essential jobs.
Well, we will have to see the
The
classification.
truck drivers are essential, aren't they? Right?
No, we're talking about the
So-
federal employees.
But why
Federal,
Not, why not
under
the airport,
federal,
right?
under federal payroll.
Okay.
No, he's talking about specifically the airport employees.
Airport.
Right.
So
Are you
if truck
talking about
drivers are
truck
essential,
drivers?
truck drivers are essential, right? Because
But-
of the bloodline of this of the economy, right? Without them pushing out merchandise to each state city, we're gonna have a problem.
But you're talking about a concept. The law is not about concept. The law and the rules of every department specified who's essential and who's not.
No, you're talking about general law. He's talking about a specific example.
No, I'm talking about the federal employees.
Okay.
The federal employees, every department should know which ones are essential or not. That is in the rules and regulations. The truck drivers are in the private sector. You may consider them as essential, but for me, every job is essential. There's no job non-essential.
Okay.
I don't make those distinctions. If you're talking about essential jobs, remember COVID.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If it's needed, if it's a job, I mean, for our Martin Day,
I don't know. A singer is needed for my nerves.
especially
Is
dirty
essential
jobs.
or not?
Yeah, that's very subjective, though.
Exactly. But the federal jobs, they regulate which one it is, what.
Right.
Yeah. I'm thirsty.
You know, I had a video with a guy, and we can kind of like a guy in the tech field, and the layoffs are getting so tough that here's a guy that's in AI. He's an engineer, right? He develops AI software and
For the
whatnot.
government.
Big companies.
Big companies.
Right? And what happened to him was he helped create this software program for the company. He trained a team of people to use the software, or the company itself to be able to utilize this software. And then he got on the chopping block. Basically, they let him go, and a lot of other upper qualified employees, because AI pretty much wiped out their jobs.
Yeah,
So-
but that has something to do with the federal government layoffs. That's private.
Yeah, that's part of the private sphere. It's nothing
just
to do with
evolution,
the
You know.
federal government.
Let's watch a little bit of it.
What you're talking about is victim of its own creation.
So
Exactly.
they're about to cry, and so immediately I was like, "Oh man, what's going on?" I checked my Outlook email, and then I saw the calendar had an invite for the VP of engineering at like, I forget what time it was sometime in the morning. And yeah, obviously as a software engineer level 1, you're never meeting with the VP of engineering for a good reason. And so I immediately knew something bad had happened. I'm sure some of you have experienced this before, but when I saw that calendar invite appear on my Outlook, I just remember my heart rate like absolutely skyrocketing. That is the most stressed I've ever been in my whole life. Like nothing can even compare to that. Like no test in college, nothing like that. So my heartbeat was just going insane. It felt like I couldn't really hear anything. I just felt this complete sense of like dread and doom and like just complete devastation, because it felt like what I had been working for all those years in college, and then leaving my prior job after just 1 year of being there to get to this point. It just felt like all that had just come crashing down within just 2 minutes of joining the meeting. So I messaged my manager, who was in the Zoom meeting, and I said, hey, check out this calendar invite. Looks like I'm getting laid off. He said, send me a screenshot. I sent it over, and then he basically said, yeah, that's what it looks like. Let me know if you want to hop on Zoom and discuss. The Zoom meeting with my manager was pretty short. It basically just consisted of him telling me, sorry, this is happening. And then I asked, was there anything I could have done to secure my spot or made a difference in this decision? And he basically said, no, I've only been there 4 months. It's not like I could work on something high impact. I had pretty much just finished onboarding, especially as a software engineer level 1. And my feedback on the team so far has been great. So after the meeting with my manager, I pretty much just had to sit and wait for a little bit until the actual meeting with the VP of engineering was going to start, aka layoff time. And so when that started, it was pretty weird. I thought I was going to have a chance to talk to HR, maybe ask to be repositioned within the org or something along those lines, but that was not the case. We basically, all 500 of us got dumped into a Zoom webinar, so we couldn't even chat, no reactions, no one-on-one contact, obviously, because they're laying off so many people at one time. And so the VP of engineering was there with whoever from HR was there. Together, they basically told us, effective immediately, you're being laid off. Thank you, and there's nothing else to really say, so let's end the meeting here. And I don't know if any of you guys have watched Succession, but it really reminded me of when Greg laid off like an entire team at ATN. Not sure if you guys get that reference, but that's really what it felt like in that moment. It was almost so bad, it was comical. So I messaged one of my friends on the team that I talked to the most, and I said, hey, this is what's going on, I'm being laid off. And he was like, no way. And we were doing a little bit of communication. I got his phone number just as a contact. And then right as I was messaging him to say, hey, can you see my LinkedIn in the Slack channel, my computer went black, everything shut down.
All right. So he got laid off. 500 others, all at once. Chopped.
Nothing new.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's capital markets. That's how it works. Now that's the cruel reality you want to, or the cold reality you want to see it. So there is two sides of the coin, right? Which is the productivity, right? Necessity to pay. Companies need profit, and it's like you hearing somebody complain because they got fired from Starbucks. It's gonna happen, right? He mentioned it there. He's level 1. It's just gonna happen, right? Now, there is the other side of the coin, which is the human part, right? And is that regardless of the position of the job, right? The sense of losing creates depression, creates some type of trauma, right? That every individual has to
Creates opportunity.
Yes and no, because one thing that we have to be cautious on, this is going to continue to happen. It's not normal, or it's not the end.
There's no foreseeable end.
But as companies build revenue replacing human jobs, because also besides the job, what we're taking is human purpose. Somebody can just go out and just swipe the floors, but they wake up with purpose. They're doing something, right? They're being part of a community. They have a sense. So besides the monetary part of it, right, is cutting that community building or being part of something. And where do you place yourself, correct? Where do you belong? And when we start having all this artificial intelligence that, it's coming along. I mean, their estimate is 2029, 2030, 34, the ones who are a little bit more stretching and more conservative, right? saying that most of these jobs, like we're talking about transportation, yeah, eventually they're going to be replaced, correct? But what is being done to help or to educate transitioning to the new phase? Because same thing happened in agriculture, right? Was an agriculture country. When we talked about that last time, right? When the industrialization came up, I mean, people moved from the fields to
Warehouses.
the warehouses,
factories.
the factories, and things like that, right? Now, today, is only like 3%, right, of the population feeds the world, because that's the population that pretty much works in the fields. So things transition is how these corporations, how the government, right, and this is part of having a good sense of development, right?
The government, what?
How corporations and the government, because this is the moral authority. I'm talking about from the moral perspective, right? How we are replacing or reevaluating with the markets, because the market is going to do his thing. The market just measures what
it's going to do.
right?
That's right.
Profits, right? Demand,
The big
right?
beast, profits.
It's just what it is. It's just profits and losses, and I demand for what is going on is just numbers. But is the having placement of human beings on purpose, because when humans have no purpose, what's left?
Well,
Fall
but
off
this
the-
is
off the
this is
waistline.
absolutely nothing new. The railroad was a great revolution and disrupt all the transportation industry. The channels, many people don't even remember or think about it. Before the railroad was the channels, water channels. In England is a great example. They have channels everywhere, and they displace a lot of horses and carriages and carts taken by horses and oxes. Was a great revolution. Nobody or few people know about the bleach. The invention of bleach almost caused a civil war in the United Kingdom. The king has to send troops to Scotland because it was a Scottish invention, the bleach. And the machines, the machinery in the 1830s and 40s for the textile factories, it create lockouts, strikes, because they were displacing the artisanal way of manufacturing things. So this is nothing new.
Correct.
Brick and mortar. How many brick and mortar businesses are broken because of internet?
Right. So my my thoughts is that it's moving. Technology is moving at such an alarming rate. Right. We're talking, back in the day with the industrial industry, right, if you will, and so on. So technology is moving so quickly that this gentleman here, he started work at ground level. He thought he was going to move up, right? And he didn't have the opportunity because technology is moving so fast that he got in there, did his job, and he wasn't needed anymore in months.
Well,
But
let me
it's not
tell you.
necessarily, it's not necessarily technology, though. It's just the way of life. It could be the opposite way, right? The company is not doing well, and they have to lay off people.
But
Right,
in
so-
the fields, you could be there for years before they say, okay, you're not moving as fast as you should. Productivity is down because you're not contributing the way you should be. And so we got to let you go.
Not necessarily. There's not enough crops, and they have a bad harvest, right? And they cannot pay them, or they cannot have them.
Everything is supply and demand.
It's demand, yeah.
If your company is giving the consumers a good product at a good price, they will thrive. The great thing about the market, which the market is all of us, we decide who gets fired and who's not. The moment you choose this brand over the other, you are taking profits out of a company and giving it to another one. So as the Walmart example we were seeing the other day, ladies and gentlemen, we, indirectly, are firing this guy and many others, and will happen. And who doesn't like to take a railroad or an airplane? Or in order to keep all the jobs as they are, do you will take the Wells Fargo diligence towards Carson City,
Yeah.
or you take your car.
Now, but one thing is like in that war, economic war, right? It's money circulating, right, across different fields, different industries, and coming along. When you start getting by big sectors, creating this vacuum of money and going in one direction,
Nothing new.
and removing, right? The I want to say displacement of money, but removing the circulation, and it just gets concentrated on certain areas, which in other words is like, okay, when we have one person making $1 trillion, right, and 99% making nothing.
You're talking about before capitalism. Before the Industrial Revolution, 90% of people was poor. So,
So
what you're talking
from
about?
from because it's two things from the perspective from as a business owner, right? So there you go. Okay, I can have the machine that is going to work for me 24/7, right? If I have a fleet of trucks, let's use the transportation, right?
All right.
I have a fleet of trucks. I have 5 trucks.
Right.
I have to deal with these people's emotions, these people's complaints, healthcare, you name it, right?
Right.
And for X amount of hours. However, if I can have this truck driving, no complaints, high performance, 24/7, max out productivity, and no healthcare. From the business perspective,
They're winning.
it's no brain.
Yeah, it's winning. They're
Right?
winning
You
completely.
just gotta do it. Correct?
Absolutely.
So that's the one side of the coin. Now, because it increases my productivity, now probably I can go from 5 trucks to 10 trucks to I can just multiply, right? It's a binary number. Now I get to
Only
I get to-
if the product and service you are bringing to the public is accepted.
it's transportation. So we have to transport things.
The faster and the cheapest win the game.
Yeah, but
Could you provide that?
No.
the profit margins would be
Yes.
so significant,
Correct.
for what they're saving as far as healthcare, insurance. What was the other?
Hours of productivity. So now
Hours of
if my
productivity.
truck is working 24/7 instead of like
There's no limit because with
40
truck
hours a
drivers,
week. It's a big
they're
difference.
maxed out at 16 hours. They can't exceed more than 16 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You have an automated truck that can,
and they don't get tired and they drive safer, right? So it's productivity at
going.
all-time high, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now from my phone, I can manage those, or a fleet of taxis, or a fleet of Ubers, right?
Yeah.
I can manage that from my phone, and I know that it's safer, right? Going to reduce my cost. Bingo.
You're absolutely correct.
So that's the common sense opportunity of what is bringing all this technology. Don't get me wrong, it's good, right? But we have to be very careful on how we manage the transition, right? And I'm talking about the human part. These are Autobots. They're defined to perform, right? But what about the human part?
well, just like the drones, right? With the self-flying drones, if you will, right? For the army or whatever corporation, if you will. Same thing applies for the trucks. You're gonna need somebody to monitor those trucks out in the road, right? Make sure that they don't hit a ditch.
But again, guys, this is nothing new. When America connected the intercontinental railroad, that you can travel from New York to San Francisco in 7 days, 6 or 7 days, instead of months through the Panama. There were steamships that went from New York to Panama, then you cross walking or in cart or whatever, and you take another steamship from Panama to San Francisco. Those lines were broken when the railroad started. So this is nothing new.
So I'm talking about more the psychological and emotional consequence.
Nothing new.
No,
What
it's going to
about
be different because
all
the person
those
who is
sailors,
rich,
all those sailors, all those Panamanian people that were taking care of transporting the Americans from one coast to the other so they can take the other steamship. There was a change of jobs that were obsolete they were replaced by the railroad workers.
Okay, so you name it there. You say it was a change of jobs. It's a difference between changing jobs than job displacement.
The same thing.
Because this purpose. Those people that they were working, everybody goes and work for a purpose. Whether it's feed your family, have a roof, right? Whether it's creating vision, whether it's creating legacy, whether it's creating an empire, whatever it is, right? Everything has a purpose. So I'm gonna go back to the same person that from the phone now has all these fleet of Ubers, trucks, whatever you name it. Now, what do I have more time with? In my hands, right? Do I really need to work? I just like pressing buttons and just making money.
So
It's a good thing,
Indeed.
isn't it? But what happened with my purpose?
Right, right. You have to revision it. So you have to move with technology or the times, or you're going to get left behind, right? So with like what Armando said, there's an opportunity.
Correct. So that's the purpose of capitalism, which is fine, correct? But what I'm talking about is human purpose.
Right.
When we're replacing human, because we're not replacing, let's say, advances on technology that is still imply human activity, right? We are basically replacing human brains, we're replacing human power. That eventually, and this is what is at stake, and people don't see it, is eventually these things that are smarter than us, right? More productive than us, more sustainable than us, I will say, what we need humanity for?
There are going to be a lot of people twiddling their thumbs.
Just think about it. The million-dollar question is that it comes to a point that what we need humanity for.
Right. And there's a conversation right there for another topic, which is the UBI.
Oh, but that begs for the questions of the other side of the coin. We will have more time to do other activities,
To focus
spiritual
on
activities, artistic activities.
purpose, right? Or
Exactly.
what you're really good at, right?
So you can see it the bad way or the good way.
Indeed.
Correct.
Indeed. You know, when I see that, I just see an opportunity to become smarter, become more valuable, right? In its time. With with robotic trucks, right? There's going to be a cyber problem. With new technology, there's going to be new problems,
They already have it in Sweden.
right?
They
And
have
so-
trucks.
And there's going to be pirates that want to jump in and, like, you know, some genius is going to figure out how to break into the firewall of
Yeah.
these AIs, right? And have the truck, you know, move to their own warehouse and rip it to shreds, right?
Yeah, all these things are gonna revolutionize how we live, make livelihood more comfortable. I mean, we talked about this a long time ago, but I'd rather be a poor person today than the king of England 500 years ago.
No doubt.
No doubt, right?
No doubt.
No doubt.
No
Right?
doubt.
The quality of life has improved so much. It's crazy, right?
Absolutely.
That we undervalue progress. I'm not denying that. That's awesome. We're just going now into this new territory, right? Of, I would call it probably interstellar.
Yeah. You know, in physicist terminology, you know, a class A planetarian, right? So we will come. Oh no, class 1, right? Right now we're in class 0.
Not too far away.
Not too far away from the you know, class 1 planet, right? Where we can manipulate the weather. We basically can harness the entire planet as energy, right, and use it to our will. That would be a class 1.
We are. I
planet.
think we are not quite yet there.
We're getting there.
I see what you mean. We cannot control many aspects. See, for example, the global warming. I know I'm entering. No, because talking about handling or not handling, nobody could explain me yet if the level of the waters, let's say global warming is true, right?
But it's
Or-
not.
or-
We already know that.
Well, but that's the whole point. They say that the water is going to rise 6 meters. How many feet is that? Well, let's say it's 2 persons.
6 meters. Let's find out.
10
Okay.
meters. And they say that that is enough to put, for example, many coastal cities in Florida partially underwater. Okay, let's assume that is true. Could you explain me why the banks give mortgages, 30-year mortgages in Miami, Pompano Beach, Palm Beach?
Ooh, that's 20 feet.
Yeah? Could you explain me
That's significant.
how that works? If the banks have those billions of dollars in research teams and they still give mortgages, 30-year mortgages on the beach, properties on the beach, somebody's lying here.
Because that's
Yeah,
not
20
happening in
feet is
30
a-
years.
20 feet
Right?
could be the length of a house itself.
Yeah.
So, wow.
So what I'm trying to say with that is that, yeah, I mean, we can harness, I don't think we can harness anything.
Or the height of a house. Yeah, yeah.
Huh?
Well, you know, that's what they're trying
We
to do
think.
with CERN, right? With CERN. And have you seen where they manufacture clouds?
Yeah.
You seen that? Right.
In the 70s, they start with that.
Yeah, they're doing it now too. So, you know. And with CERN, where, you know, hey, wormholes and things like hey, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
That's a whole other thing. But they are trying to manipulate our weather, which they're trying to harness the power of, you know, our atmosphere and, you know, use it as power. Now, what was the windmills, right? If you will, right?
Yeah.
We've been trying to really focus
Big
on
scams.
that, right? And it costs too much money to, you know, maintain.
They
it.
don't work. Look at Europe, right? Beautiful country, and
Oh, my
they start
God.
putting all these windmills all over the place and ruining the scenery, and they don't work, and they break, and
Exactly.
you know,
and
like
it costs too much to maintain.
Yeah.
No, the construction of this.
they're all made in
windmills-
China, by the way. And
Yeah, and the
funny
construction
thing is China
requires
doesn't use any of those.
requires a lot of
I wonder
energy.
why.
It requires a lot of oil products, base oil products, because plastic. I give you good news or bad news. Plastic is made with oil, so all those requires oil, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And there's nothing cheaper than nuclear energy.
Indeed.
It's very
you know,
effective.
the sun. So we're getting better with our solar panels.
We have a problem with the sun.
Yeah. What is that?
Every day goes out.
Yeah. Truly. So we have to put that power somewhere, right? And that's where Tesla comes in at with their
No,
batteries.
the batteries, yeah.
But have you seen? I think it was in Japan. They made their city. They're working on smart cities, right? Where the walkway is it's like a dam, right, or a power plant, right? So the walkways, they created like these walkways that literally has little have a little bit of give where they push down on the surface.
They create electricity by friction.
Indeed.
As you walk, you create electricity. Yeah, yeah.
Very
No, the
intelligent.
technology is wonderful, and solar from the when it started in the 70s until now has evolved a lot, a lot.
Yeah.
Here, very close here, 30-something minutes, no, 40 minutes, we have a big solar construction
Yeah.
in the border with California, in the California side,
yeah,
of course.
you go to going towards Arizona. There's a big solar farm, huge, bigger than the one that you're talking about.
Well, this one
Very well
went
maintained.
bankrupt. Is going to close this year because they cannot generate as much as they expected.
Correct.
So it's a very challenged
Very
industry,
expensive to maintain. That's the key. Is the maintenance, right? Because
and you have to ask yourself how they keep heat. They need heat to generate
Opportunities for a
electricity.
job.
They
We
use
need maintenance
natural
people to
gas.
maintain that.
Huh?
Opportunities for jobs. right?
Always, always.
yeah, but the cost is the thing. The issue is not is the cost of maintenance and replacing parts and things like that.
They make it very
Because
cheap.
they have to be not only that, but they have to be on the outside, right? And we like it or not, Mother Nature, right? It's brutal.
Wear and tear.
That was the origin of the conversation. Can we control Mother Nature?
No. Well, yes. Yes and
No, we don't.
We will figure it out. We just have to get smarter, right? And with AI,
We are trying
and
to figure it out
robotics-
since the Greeks.
Well, you know, AI and robotics, right? We're going to figure it out. I have no doubt we will.
So you think that they're gonna be able to control hurricanes?
I think what's going to
Earthquakes.
happen is they're going to figure out how to diffuse it in a short period of time where it doesn't completely destroy, cities, um, property, landscape. So they're going to figure out how to when it forms, they're going to figure out how to make it less of a destructive force, where they diffuse it right when it begins. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, I have a friend in Florida. His house is steel and concrete. No worries about hurricanes or whatever you want to throw. Go to the Caribbean, and one of the attractions you have in several islands are the sugar mills, where they refine sugar or where they refine the sugar cane into different byproducts. And they're from the 17th, 18th, 19th century, and they are over there intact. Why they are intact after so many hurricanes? They are made of stone. So, in other words, you don't need to control the hurricane. You need to build quality.
Properly.
And harness it, possibly too.
Oh, no, yes, of course. It's not nice to be in a hurricane, I know.
Yeah. Let's harness an earthquake or a
Yikes.
volcano, right? It's like
In
certain
an earthquake,
things.
you cannot have a stone building. You are there.
And you know what? I think and also it's necessary that those things maintain out of human control so we don't forget who we are and where we come from. And there is a higher entity.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Call Mother Earth.
Well, you call it Mother Earth, call it whatever you want to call
God,
it, right? But
universe. Yeah.
is that having that respect,
Indeed.
right?
Absolutely.
When that's lost, then
Yeah, I see
it's
your
gonna
point.
walk over everything.
Currently, we cannot harness the weather, so
Currently,
we'll see what happens.
I got a feeling we're going to be able to.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Dreaming is free, man. So I can say. Right? So that's awesome. What else you got?
That is it.
All right. So if you have questions, please let us know. Put your comments, your opinions of what we talk about today. I mean, we talk a lot of stuff today, but let us know what your thoughts are and place a comment below. And we'll see you next week with Edmundo, Sabco, and Andres at the Market Boys.
See you next week. Thank
later.
you.